Hello again, students. Today we will understand ways that humans negatively and positively impact the ocean. So I'm going to start this from the current slide since this is where we are. Okay. So we are going to discuss some negative impacts and positive impacts that humans have on the ocean. Okay, just waiting on it to load. Hopefully you are following all the videos because it's very important that you understand the vocabulary. Yesterday we did the vocabulary video, so hopefully everyone took care of that, right? Okay, so according to marine science, I'm visiting this website. So human impacts on the oceans. Humans have a huge impact on the ocean. In fact, evidence of humans can be found all over the oceans, even in the most remote polar areas, meaning areas where you don't think humans will possibly be, right? In the form of floating trash. All right, so trash is floating all over the world. I mean, if you dump it in the ocean, it's just pretty much moving about. It is going all over. The main areas of human impact can be divided into those related to ocean pollution, habitat destruction, and the introduction of alien species. Each of these deserves an entire chapter, but will just be summarized, okay? So, I mean, if we spend a lot of time on just one topic, we'll never finish this chapter. So, it's very important that you understand at least the high points of it all. So, some negative impacts. And I like this picture here. It says no dumping, drains to ocean. Is letting people know if you dump something here, it's possibly going to be drained into the ocean. So there are signs that are posted about to help people do the right thing. Okay, it's up to us to do the right thing. So the definition of pollute is to make impure, especially to contaminate with man-made waste. Humans have a lot of waste that is often disposed in the ocean. Trash is one of man's most widespread pollutants. So beaches all over the world become littered with the trash produced by mankind, much of which is disposed at the sea and then floats all over the world in the currents. Okay. Remember those gyres we were talking about, those currents that keep everything in rotation and moving. So everything is just never ending. It's moving all about unless some poor animals are trying to ingest it and eat it, and then it makes them sick or they possibly die. Sewage is a pollutant that can be harmful to human health, and most developed countries treat their sewage to get rid of harmful human bacteria and release relatively benign, meaning not so harmful, influent into the oceans after treatment. So here are a few pictures. Rocky Shore in Santa Barbara during 1969 oil spill. Sandy Beach in Santa Barbara during 1969 oil spill, showing use of hay to absorb the oil. So they were trying to do all different types of things. Of course, technology has evolved, and there are a whole lot of different ways that we're cleaning up coastal areas and what have you. The poor little birds, they get a lot of oil on them when those oil spills take place, and this can be very, very detrimental to those birds. Oil spills, another negative impact in the ocean, usually happens when the oil rigs spring a leak, or even with the passing of ships, cargo. These are all different types of ways. Chemicals released into the ocean cause a myriad of problems, like just a whole lot of problems. Pesticides coming from runoff. We talked about that during vocabulary. You have, excuse me, farmland. They're trying to fertilize their crops and what have you. And all of this is, seeping into groundwater, and all of the groundwater is streaming along the way, and eventually it's gravitating to the ocean. So we have thermal pollution, which can be your climate changes, cool ocean water taken in is released at a higher temperature. Noise pollution. Now, this one, noise pollution, and you're like, what is noise pollution? Well, think about the cargo, think about the boats, the ships that are going through the water. The noise is making those marine life species move, and they're swimming away and going other places and what have you when they're used to a certain area, but then the noise runs them off. So noise pollution, that's another one to think about. Habitat destruction. If you look at Galveston, you have the pier, Kemah Boardwalk, you have all of these different developments. They had to destruct a certain area, which in the same fashion destructed a certain habitat that once was there, right? So restoration of habitats is becoming increasingly common in developed countries that are concerned about the effects of human on nature. So people are trying to make better decisions, but sometimes it just happens. You have introduction of alien species, and this is ships traveling worldwide, pick up marine species both on the hulls of their ships and in other water, and then it travels throughout the globe, and these species can be introduced to new areas because they're falling off the ship and they're being relocated, right? Replaced. So these are all some different negative ways. And this is a picture that you'll see again, is very familiar. So make it familiar to you. This talks about the climate change in the Arctic, right? You have global warming. All of these different changes are happening because the ozone depletion. You have all of those fumes and toxic gases, greenhouse gases going into the atmosphere, causing global warming and climate change. So these are some of your negative impacts. Okay. Now, what about some positive impacts, right? Humans are not so bad, right? We try, we do the best we can with what we have. So how can you help our ocean? Here are 10 simple things you can do at home, around town, on the water, or anywhere. So 10 ways to help our ocean: at home, around town, or on the water. Number one, conserve water. Use less water to excess runoff, and wastewater will not flow into the ocean. So it says use less water, so excess runoff and wastewater will not flow into the ocean. Reduce pollutants, choose non-toxic chemicals, and dispose of all chemicals properly. Reduce waste. Cut down on what you throw away. Shop wisely. Choose sustainable seafood. Buy less plastic and bring a reusable bag. Reduce vehicle pollution. Now, this helped during COVID because there was not a lot of people driving around, right? Um, let's see, use less energy. Choose energy efficient light bulbs and don't overset your thermostat. It says fish responsibly. So overfishing, it's not always responsible. There are laws in place to avoid overfishing, so rules must be followed. It says follow catch and release practices and keep more fish alive. So everything you catch, even if you're on a trip with your friends or your family, everything you catch, you don't necessarily have to keep. Okay, that's what they mean when they say catch and release. Okay, my brothers, they love to fish, and I remember while we were fishing, he would catch small fish and he like, oh, we're gonna just throw this one back in, but he did keep the big ones. Okay. Practice safe boating, anchor in sandy areas far from coral and seagrasses, adhere to no wake zones, right? So be careful not to drop the anchor on a coral reef or habitat that's probably right there, living, minding their own business, trying to live, sustain life. Okay, respect habitat. Healthy habitat and survival go hand in hand. Treat with care. And then number 10, anywhere, anytime, try to volunteer. Volunteer for cleanups, at the beach. You can go to Galveston, ask your parents, ask friends, a church or a community center. You can always try to volunteer. You can get involved in protecting your watershed too. And the watershed is just those areas where the water pretty much runs. You have runoff kind of run through there as well. So it's all different types of ways that we can do positive things that will help sustain life in the marine ecosystem. Okay, so just to recap: conserve water, reduce pollutants, reduce waste, shop wisely, reduce vehicle pollution, use less energy, fish responsibly, practice safe boating, respect habitats, and try to volunteer anytime you can. Okay, thank you so much. And we are going to end it there.